levels of stewardship for world oceans. I'm guessing that many of you, like all of us up here, have connections and appreciation for oceans. We share a deep dependence on oceans, and that inspiration has led to a rising tide of ocean stewardship, which I think many people in the room are familiar with. That rising tide in the United States alone, we've created more than 150,000 square miles of marine sanctuaries. An important player in that process has been the National Park Service, which is the steward of more than 400 terrestrial and marine parks in the country. I'm very pleased to have several members of the fellow members of the National Park Foundation here tonight. We just completed a board meeting at Glacier National Park where Director John Jarvis reminded us that our society's sense of stewardship for the natural world can really change drastically over time. And we could all probably give our own examples of what we've seen even in our lifetimes. But John reminded me that it was only 100 years ago that herds of buffalo were shot from trains in the American plains. Something that would be unthinkable today. So our sense of stewardship changes over time. So despite much progress in marine conservation, stewardship of the planet's vast high seas remains problematic. And the future is far from certain. As Pogo once said, the future just isn't what it used to be. But Pogo also said, we face a future confronted by insurmountable opportunities. And maybe that's the spirit of our work. So 3 years ago, some of us found ourselves asking whether we as a society can continue to tolerate inadequate appreciation and respect and stewardship of oceans. We asked ourselves, are we the ocean stewards that we ought to be? Are we, as founders, as people thinking about ocean conservation, are we the stewards that we ought to be? Is our generation doing what is needed to preserve and protect this resource for future generations? Do we as a society exercise the kind of self-restraint and discipline that's needed to maintain the health of oceans in the same way that is often applied to terrestrial nature, such as national parks? Do we understand that oceans are not endlessly resilient and forgiving for threats from human activities? And do we understand the far-reaching consequences of inadequate stewardship? So the founders of the Sargasso Sea Alliance, many of whom are here tonight, were troubled by the answers to these questions, and we know many others share that concern. 3 years ago, we set out to create an island of hope and exemplary stewardship in what we see as a sea of perilous complacency and ominous threats. We identified the Sargasso Sea as a crown jewel of the world's high seas. And we launched, in partnership with the government of Bermuda, the effort that you've heard about here tonight. Thanks to broad support, we expect that the Protection Declaration for the Sargasso Sea Alliance, Sargasso Sea, will be adopted no later than Earth Day next year, Earth Day 2014, and probably before that. Yes, I will just mention my sister Martha is here, who has a lifetime of involvement in ocean conservation. And Martha's lot. And she reminded me again last year that my birthday is